Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, you're going to meet a wildly successful family law attorney. She's going to talk about her incredible journey next.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
Well, I'm sure you've heard the statistics. Half of all marriages end in divorce. But when you're going about picking a divorce attorney, there are those attorneys that want to take you to war and rack up the legal bill. And there's other attorneys like my next guest who really wants to make sure that everybody is taken care of and this ends without harm to the children. That's Kimmy Vermillion Wright is in the studio. Thanks for coming on the show. She's with Atwood and McCall. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you, Jeff.
Yes. Okay, I want to hear your journey because you didn't start out in law. You actually started out in the prisons.
Well, on the right side of the prison.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, tell us that story.
Well, my hometown is Gatesville, Texas, and it is a farm and ranch and prison town. And at 19, it was the best government job in town, the best benefits, and I began working there as an officer on the takedown team.
Okay, a takedown team, there's a riot or something? I mean, what is a takedown?
Not really the riot team, but on an everyday basis, if someone was may harm themselves, then we would go in and make sure that they were detained and securely taken to the infirmary.
Wow. Well, you seem so like calm and peace-loving. I can't imagine you like on a takedown team. Were you having to stretch a little bit?
Well, we were protecting people from themselves and others. And I learned mainly I don't want to ever be in prison where I don't get to leave freely.
Sure.
But it's also, that's their home. And we did get to go home every day. So you follow the rules and the procedures. They respect that for the most part. And you just learn to be consistent.
When did you get an interest in law?
Mostly while working at the prison, just seeing the different aspects. And then decided to, after 5 years, go finish my undergrad. I had a couple of associate's degrees and went to Baylor undergrad, finished there. Education, storytelling, English major, and did some student teaching. Decided law school would be the next best step. And I love Baylor boot camp. Baylor law is amazing.
Okay, so in law school, did you start to drift towards family law, or when did that happen?
Actually, probably after. Baylor is a litigation school, and so you're constantly informed and to be an advocate. And you're in the courtroom, it's your practice court. You learn how to be an advocate for your client and you learn the law. So when I started out in the beginning in litigation for an insurance defense company or law firm, my people were at my son's school, at our church, at our fundraising, our scouts, and that's where my people were, and that's where I knew I could help people the most.
We're going to pull up your website and scroll down the page on your website that gives your background because I'm very impressive. I mean, we're going to talk about scouting in a minute, but as you look back at all of your accolades and your experience, I mean, this has been a very quick ride. You've been doing law for 23 years.
Yes.
What's the most rewarding part about family law?
I think the most rewarding part about my practice in family law is also one of the hardest parts. The families that are in a high crisis, high conflict with children. I do my best to help my client understand it's not about team mom or team dad or team parent. It's about the team kid.
Yes.
And we want the children to be put first. That's what the judge's first and last filter is. Best interest of the child. So sometimes I get a client that may be a little distracted from the best interest of their children. So we try to help give them the strategies and education and the support through other trusted resources, just so that they can be the best parent that they can be. But it's like the old commercial, or not old, but the commercials for an airplane. You have to, as a parent, put that oxygen on yourself and then help everyone else.
Yes.
I get a lot of clients that are just worn out. And we say, let me put it on my shoulders. Let me carry this for you so that you can go be the best parent you can be.
Share with us one of your favorite stories without naming the client.
Well, some of my favorite clients just understand the value of having us as a resource. Helped one client through a divorce with kiddos. One of the kiddos had special needs. We ended up helping with the guardianship for the special needs child, getting the divorce final. And then a few years later, when my client was getting remarried, we drafted the marital agreements, managing the expectations, who would be responsible for what and when. And then we also continued to help do an adult or step-parent adoption for the other side of the family. So it was just that holistic, we are a one-stop shop for people with family issues and other issues. I mean, this was a business owner, and he was reforming business after the divorce. So my partners do business and high-end tax estate planning. So we're just a one-stop shop.
I love that. I love that. We've got some video from our library that we're going to put up of just families and friction. And as we look at the whole divorce industry, I know you have tremendous experience in the courtroom, but your goal is not to go to the courtroom.
It is. The goal is to preserve the emotions and the finances of my client. And as you mentioned earlier, that's not always what certain attorneys do. But I've found that it's more valuable and worthwhile to help a client. I don't want to spend their kids' college fund and their retirement account. I don't want to drop them off at the side of the road and say, thanks for playing, but you ran out of money.
Yeah.
And they don't want to refer me. They just want to forget about attorneys that do that.
Right.
I build relationships. I want to do what I can do for them. And hopefully they'll remember me when they have family members or friends that need the special guidance.
And like all great attorneys, you can see like 5 chess moves ahead. And so when the client wants to go to war and let's go to court and I'm right and she's wrong, sometimes you say, okay, I see what you're saying, but let's not go there because this is going to be very, very expensive. And if you do this, she's going to do this.
Yeah. I've had to fire clients in the past that do not want to go forward reasonably. Mm-hmm. It doesn't mean they have to do what I want them to do, but if they want us to be unethical, then we don't have to represent them. I mean, my honor, my word, and when I walk into the courtroom, we're just going to shoot straight.
Sure.
And I always let clients know if there's something in the closet, the skeletons, you need to let us know now here in the safe zone, because I don't need to see it the first time in the courtroom.
Right.
We need to plan for it. It is what it is, and let's get a strategy.
And I know that many of the values that you embrace come from scouting. So let's talk about your relationship with scouting. You have some Eagles in your family?
I do. My sons are Eagle Scouts. My youngest from first grade all the way through, and we were from small troop in East Dallas. Mm. And so a couple of the moms, we were on all the high adventures. So I've gotten to do Philmont and Sea Base and up in the Boundary Waters. Oh. So I always tell my clients, if I can take a bunch of teenage boys on the Canadian Boundary Waters, we needed a plan before we got in the plane to get there. So we're going to get a plan because this is important.
Yes. And I'm an Eagle Scout. I finally put that on my LinkedIn page.
That's great.
Yeah. So, my older brother became an Eagle in Troop 2 in Detroit, Michigan. So when I would go to a jamboree and they saw just the number 2, they're like, are there numbers missing? And I was like, no, it's Troop 2.
That's pretty wild.
So let's talk a little bit about Scouting has just rebranded, and you're a fan, having...
I am.
Yeah, just talk about that.
Well, I believe that expanding Scouting to include male and female youth is amazing because of the leadership opportunities. It doesn't take away from any of the other wonderful, different scouts or different programs out there for our young people. This is just such a great leadership opportunity. I've seen it with my boys. I've seen it with the female troops that I've worked with since it opened up. It's amazing, the opportunities. When I was working at the insurance defense firm, mm-hmm. We were part of the hiring a year later, and when it came down to 2 candidates, and they had performed excellent, one had an Eagle Scout, had attained Eagle Scout, and the other had not. And they only had 1 slot, so the one with the Eagle Scout got the slot.
Sure.
Because that shows that you can stick to it, and you've been through the leadership, and it's just an amazing service organization.
Yeah, so I think, I don't know the exact statistics, but I think it's less than like 1% of all scouts become Eagles, so it really does mean something.
Absolutely.
I'm proud of you for working with your boys to go the distance.
Well, and part of my involvement still is working with Scout Reach, which we set up and support inner city scouting for those folks that may not have parents that can help or will help. And we provide that, and it's a great program. And we're seeing scouts that have finished the program, and we're getting wonderful feedback from them.
Wow. Kimmy, we only have a minute or so left, so look into the camera on the left and talk to that person who might unfortunately be winding down their marriage and why they might want to give you a call.
The worst thing to do is stick your head in the sand. You're only exposing your assets, your emotions, and the worry wheels are not going to stop until you get some information. We provide actually a free conversation, confidential, if you'll use code word Jeff Crilley when you give us a call. And we want to provide information and educate. We're not going to be a hard sell. We're not going to try to force you into doing a divorce or a custody battle. We want to give you the information and find out what your goals are. We're a little unique. We actually listen to what your concerns are and where you want to be. And we help design that strategy specifically for you.
Wow, Kimmy, you've been an amazing guest. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you, Jeff, for having me.
We're going to show her website to end the show. It's atwoodmccall.com, and you can navigate to Kimmy's page. The great Kimmy Vermillion Wright. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks, Jeff.
You bet. That's it for now. We'll see you next time.